got any advice that you want to give to any up and coming artists or people that's trying to come out, people that ain't made it yet? What you want to tell them?
Get a personal relationship with God first. You know what I'm saying? You can't start nothing positive off in your life if you don't, you know what I'm saying, get him in your life. And that's what's happening. That's coming from a real thug, a real soldier. You gonna believe what you want. I'm telling you what's real. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing you gotta do. Because once you clear that part of your life out, then, I mean, what could stop you after that point? You know what I'm saying? So for me, when I get to my fans, I make it important. I want them to understand how important it is for me to let them know that it's so important to have God in your life, bro. A personal relationship with God, one-on-one, because he opened up doors and make things happen for real. Can't nobody block you when he with you, and that's what's happening, you know?
A. Wood Johnson Jr., aka Mr.Magic, was born on August 16, 1975, in New Orleans, Louisiana, Ninth Ward, Tennessee and Claiborne, to his mother, Juanita Brooks. His mom was a gospel and a jazz singer, and growing up, he was surrounded by music. His uncle was well-known guitarist Detroit Brooks Sr., and as a kid, Magic fell in love with hip-hop, a new form of music. And even though his mom was from the more traditional side, she still supported his dreams of one day becoming a rapper. According to his sister, Tamisha Brooks, she said her mom would say, always go for what you're passionate about. And that's what Magic did. He began to perform around New Orleans. And once word got out on the skills that Magic had, none other than C Murder decided to pay him a visit. And according to Magic, he said he was surprised to see C Murder because he was in the trenches for real, and not even a lot of real street dudes would have came where C Murder came to see him. But he said he wanted to talk to him man to man and let him know, I want you to be the first artist signed to my true record label that was up under No Limit, who at this time had the game on lock. A lot of people might forget, but there was a time in hip-hop history, No Limit Records had the world in the palm of his hands. And now, Mr.Magic was a part of that. He would be featured on C Murder's debut album, Life or Death, on songs such as Picture Me and Watch Your Enemies. And in 1998, he would drop his first solo album, Sky's the Limit, which would debut on the Billboard Top 200 at number 15 and on the R&B and hip hop charts, number 3. And more success would follow the next year when he dropped his album, Thuggin', which had hit songs like That's Me and Ice on My Wrist. Master P would ask him to join the No Limit supergroup, the 504 Boyz, and they remade his original song, Wobble Wobble, and made it into a nationwide smash. Then he would link up with the man who brought him into the game, C Murder, along with West Coast legend Snoop Dogg, for the timeless hood classic, Down for My Niggas. Life was going extremely well for Mr.Magic. He had multiple hit albums and songs under his belt. He was a part of one of the top record companies in the world, and he met the love of his life, Chastity Johnson, and they brought a baby girl into the world, Twyla Johnson. Things really couldn't get much better for him, but unfortunately, things at the No Limit headquarters wasn't looking too good. A lot of artists began to leave the label over contract disputes, and it started to weaken the brand over the time. Things just wasn't the same, but Mr.Magic, he wanted to stay down. He wanted to stay loyal, so he continued to release music under the new No Limit banner. And in 2003, he would release his final album under No Limit, titled White Eyes, but it was a commercial failure compared to the success he had at the height of No Limit's fame. And the writing was on the wall. It was time to leave No Limit Records. And he actually dissed Master P a few times on different songs. So it was a little bit of tension there. and he would sign a solo deal with Koch Records and release his only album on the label titled On My Own, but it didn't have any successful singles and it failed to chart. Mr.Magic wasn't ready to give up on music, and in 2004, he got together with former No Limit artist Choppa, along with boxing legend Roy Jones Jr., and formed the music group Body Headbangers, and they made the underground hit song I Smoke, I Drink.
Louisiana boy, down here we get bugged. And if we ain't fighting, it's probably cause we're too messed up.
Even though the group found some success on their first album, that was their sole project, they never released any other material, and Mr.Magic would go on to sign a solo deal with TVT Records, but he never released anything under the label because contract disputes and the record company, they were on the verge of shutting down anyways. And after that, Mr.Magic, he went kind of silent on the music tip. And in 2009, tragedy would strike when his mom would pass away. I don't know if this gave him like some type of motivation, but he started to release some singles around this time. And he also wanted to transition from just being an artist under a record label to being the boss, to being the CEO.
What's new is my attitude, who I am. And now I'm talking about, although I've been making music and doing that in and out of the jail and all that is over now. I'm a grown man. I'm focused on business. So I'm over businessman. You know what I'm saying?
Mr.Magic was ready to take things to the next level, not just musically, in life, as a man. But unfortunately, on March 1st, 2013, Mr.Magic and his family were involved in a fatal car accident with only one lone survivor. That survivor being his baby girl, Twyla Johnson, who was only 12 years old at this time. Him and his beloved wife Chastity both died. It's very sad, very tragic, and his No Limit brothers and sisters would all send their love and condolences on social media, along with showing up to the funeral as well. And Mr.Magic was always very underrated to me, and he was always one of my favorite No Limit artists, and he'll always be remembered, and he is the definition of a true No Limit soldier. And Mr.Magic, he was only 37 years old when he died, man. Rest in peace, King.